Hello everyone, welcome back to ProRats Analyst. Today we'll discuss a concept in SSIS, that is variables. So variables can make your SSIS packages more dynamic and powerful. So we are going to see what are the variables and a simple example to demonstrate the variables in action. So what are variables? In SSIS, variables allows us to store values dynamically during the package execution. So these values can be changed based on different conditions, making our SSIS workflows more flexible. So there are two types of variables. One are system variables that are predefined by SSIS, and another is user variables, that are custom variables that we create to store values. So we are going to discuss about user variables because user variables helps us to do the execution more powerfully and dynamically. So in this example, we are going to use the variables to filter the data dynamically based on customer ID, because we are having a table, customer table, and we are going to retrieve the customer details with respect to the customer ID. And this customer ID, we are going to save it in a variable. So that first of all, what we need to do is that we need to open the Visual Studio and we have to create the project. We can go to new project and integration project. You need to select next, and you need to give the name for the project, and you need to set the location for the project. Once you are done with this, you can create the project. Now we are going to select the variable name. So when you see in this pane, there is no variable window in that. If you want that variable window to be shown in this pane, you have to go to view menu and you have to go to other windows, and here you can see variables. You can select that. Now you have got this variable window, and in this variable you can have go to the first one. You will get add variable. You can select that and you can click the variable name and you can select or rename the variable name. We will rename it as where customer ID, and the scope will be in this package only, and we can give the data type. You have different data types. Since we are having the customer ID, we will use it as integer itself, and you can give the value here, or you can provide an expression to get the dynamic value for the variable. So when you select the expression builder, you can create the expression, or you can use another variable to create this variable. So all those things, there are advanced way to create the variable. So we are going to do one simple thing. We will change this value to 103. Why we are giving 103 is that in our SQL Server database, we have a customer ID with 103 as its customer ID. So now if you see this SQL table, we are having the customer. So we are having this customer table and we are having this customer ID as 103. So we are taking this 103 and to get and retrieve this value, Charlie. So that's why we have given 103. So after this, we are going to take the data flow task, and we will go inside the data flow task and we will select a source, that is OLEDB, so that we can connect with the SQL Server database. So in the OLEDB, you can double click it for getting the connection manager. If you're having some connection manager, it will be shown here. Otherwise, you can create a new one and you can select whatever connection managers you have. If you don't have anything, you can select new and you can give the server name here, and you can select the desired database which you want to use. We are going to use online retail. If you want to test the connection, you can test it and then it's okay. Now, instead of this table overview, we are going to do one thing. We are going to give the SQL command here. And this SQL command, we are going to give the basic command. Select star from customer where customer ID equals. Usually we will give it as 103, and instead of giving it as 103, we will give it a question mark here, because we are going to pass the variable into this place. So for passing the variable to this place, you need to give just a question mark here in SSIS. For mapping the variable to this, you need to select the parameters, and in that parameters you can select the variable. So that this is the first parameter. If you are giving another question mark, parameter 1 will be shown here. So now we are going to select the variable, and the variable name will be the name which you have created. And you can scroll down and see, okay, this is the user variable. So this is the user variable which we have created. So you can select it and select OK. So now since we have created the parameters, you can just select OK. So there is no error for this. Now the next thing we can do is that you can create a flat file destination, because we are going to retrieve the value and we can pass it to on flat file. For that, we can create a flat file. So here we are going to create a flat file, and there is a document, and we will name it as SSIS. So now we will select the flat file as a destination, and we will use the pipeline to connect it with the flat file, and we need to configure this flat file. You can go to new and it should be delimited, and we can browse and select the flat file location. And of course, the column names, the first data row should be the headers. You can select OK, and you need to map and see whether everything is correct. Obviously, everything will be correct only. And OK, because we will execute the package and see how many rows got affected or how many rows got retrieved. That means only one record should be retrieved from the SQL server. So we will start the execution, and you can see only one row got selected and got into the flat file. Now we will check the flat file and see. Here is a flat file. We will double click it and we will check it. Now you can see customer ID name. That is the first line as the header, and the second line is the data which we got retrieved. We gave 103 in the variable and it got executed and it got retrieved the value. So this is one basic use of variables. Of course, variables can be used in a larger scale. So this one example is a basic one which we can understand it. So hope it was an informative one. Have a nice day.